On Friday, April 10, 2026, 4 astronauts are scheduled to wake up in space to begin the final, high-stakes day of their 10-day mission. From the initial launch to the final splashdown, the crew will have traveled a total of 695,081 miles. At the furthest point of this loop, the spacecraft reached a distance of 252,760 miles from Earth, surpassing the human distance record set by Apollo 13. The crew now faces the most dangerous phase of the return journey, navigating a high-speed re-entry into Earth's atmosphere. Success now depends on a precise, minute-by-minute sequence of events required to bring the Orion capsule safely through the sky. The return timeline officially begins at 11:35 p.m. Eastern Time, the scheduled wake-up call for the crew. Public tracking of the final hours begins shortly after, with live coverage of the descent starting around noon. At 1:50 p.m., the crew reaches a critical technical milestone, the final cabin configuration for Earth re-entry. The crew must manually shift internal structures to transition the Orion from a deep space habitat into an armored re-entry vehicle, ensuring the bottom heat shield is fully exposed to the oncoming friction. This structural shift prepares the capsule's internal systems for the extreme thermal loads and the sudden onset of heavy gravitational forces. Once the configuration is finalized at 1:50 p.m., the crew is physically committed to the atmospheric descent. By 6:30 p.m. Eastern, NASA's official broadcast will be live as the capsule begins its final approach to the atmosphere. At 7:53 p.m., the Orion capsule is scheduled to strike the upper atmosphere. During these minutes of peak friction, the capsule must withstand temperatures and physical stresses designed to test the limits of its heat shield and structural integrity. The mission concludes at 8:07 p.m. with a splashdown in the Pacific Ocean, off the coast of San Diego. Following impact, recovery teams from NASA and the U.S. Department of War will immediately extract the crew from the water and transport them via aircraft to a nearby recovery ship. The 8:07 p.m. splashdown marks the completion of the Orion vehicle's primary objective, proving it can sustain and protect a crew through a 700,000-mile lunar orbit. While the crew recovers at sea, the focus shifts to NASA's Lyndon B. Johnson Space Center in Houston. At 10:30 p.m. Eastern, NASA will hold its post-splashdown press conference to provide the first official debrief on the mission's technical performance. This mission mirrors the success of Apollo 8, validating the deep space flight systems and the heavy lift infrastructure required for sustained operations beyond Earth orbit. Successfully retrieving this crew provides the critical safety data and flight validation needed to proceed with the lunar lander missions scheduled for later in 2026. Proving that humans can safely return from the distance of the moon is the foundational step for the Artemis campaign's long-term goal, a crewed mission to Mars.